What is happening, my fellow gears? Welcome back to another video. Now, if you look out the left side, you will see my guide for the pilot class. Let's get into it. Just like the rest of these Horde guides, I'm going to cover everything there is to the pilot class. I will start with the pilot's loadout, then I'll cover the cards and perks, and then I've got some builds for you. If you do find these videos helpful, then you may be interested to know I have class guides for almost all classes in Gears 5 now. But please remember, these guides are aimed at players a little bit newer to Gears, or more specifically, Horde mode. If you are a veteran of the series, have a little bit of patience. Now, onto the pilot. This class is very unique and also very fun to play, with a few different playstyles available as well. You can choose to dominate the field with your silverback mech, or taunt and crowd control enemies. First, you're going to start every game with an enforcer, drop shot and talon pistol. The pilot does get buffs for both the drop shot and the enforcer, but you can use almost anything else you want with this class, if you prefer. The pilot excels even more with weapons attached to its silverback ultimate ability. That's right, this class can spawn a silverback for 35 seconds in any Horde match. This silverback doesn't come with any weapons equipped on it as standard, so it is a little bit useless until you unlock some of the cards, with the earliest ones coming in at level 2 and 7, but more on skill cards and levels a bit later. The silverback can do a hell of a lot of damage, and by far the best thing in the pilot's kit. But it does sadly have a long cooldown of 400 seconds, one of the longer ones in Gears 5. The pilot's passive does help with this long cooldown though, as any damage you take will knock a little bit of time off your summon silverback cooldown. Pair this with your own damage and perks and you'll be able to summon your silverback every other wave, possibly multiple times on boss waves. With the basic loadout of the pilot out of the way, we're going to take a look at the skill cards this class has at its disposal. To unlock these skill cards though, we're going to need to make some levels. So, here's an experience table that I show in all of my guides, breaking down each level's requirements. These values are the same for all classes, and if you happen to play the pilot class, which was Lizzie Carmine, any EXP you had on her will have been transferred to this class when they were separated from characters. The pilot has access to 19 different skill cards, it's quite a lot. So I'm going to break down each card and everything that they do. Starting out, we've got Score Boost. Every class starts with this card. You can equip it if you want, it doesn't make much of a difference. I have been asked if Score Boost helps you level up faster. It doesn't, that's the short answer. But I'm going to link the video I did covering this in the top right if you want to see that. And it's got a few other tips that might help you out as well. Next up is Quick Ice Cannon. This is a silverback card, and what I mean by that is if you equip this card, you don't automatically start out with a cryo cannon, as it might suggest. Instead, you will have one attached to your silverback when you use your ultimate ability, and this will freeze enemies slightly faster. Use it for now, as you don't have anything else. Hitting level 3 will unlock a second card slot, which is great because you will also unlock rear armor. This grants a huge amount of damage resistance when you take damage from behind. It has been designed with the silverback in mind, as only your back is exposed when using it, but it can be very useful if something happens to get in behind you as well. The next card to be unlocked is Explosive Munitions. This will cause your kills to explode, dealing splash damage when you're in the silverback's defense mode. Let's take a quick look at what this is. We spawn in the silverback as normal, but getting kills while moving around doesn't trigger this card. Instead, I need to go into defense mode by hitting the button to use my ultimate ability again. For me, it's Y on the keyboard, not sure what it is for controllers. In this mode, you cannot move around, but you can have a teammate take cover on you. This can be useful in some situations, but not being able to move leaves you at a huge disadvantage. And your teammates are never going to be short of cover in a Gears of War game. I would skip this card for now, as you can't kill anything right now with your silverback anyway. You will unlock your next card slot at level 5, as well as the Deep Pockets skill card. This just increases your carrying capacity with all pistols, which is more useful in escape mode rather than Horde, but if you want to use it and start going to town with any of the pistols we have, go ahead. Personally, I would use the second card we unlocked at level 5, which is Enforcer Expert. This increases your damage and active effects with the Enforcer, which is great considering you start all Horde matches with this weapon. The next skill card we will get is for the Silverback, and it is Exploding Buzzkill. This will allow you to use the Buzzkill, and it will cause splash damage on any kills that you get. This is the first proper damage dealing card you gain access to for your Silverback. Equip it and start to make use of your ultimate ability. Aggressive Armor is the next card you're going to unlock, at the same time as your 4th card slot. Dealing any kind of damage with this card equipped, as the pilot will generate some stim, but only when you are already at full health. Stim acts like an overshield would from Halo, it simply keeps you alive for longer. A fantastic survivability card that I can highly recommend. Up next is Healing Munitions, designed as another Silverback card. This will heal your Silverback for any explosive damage you deal. Right now though, the only explosive damage you have is coming from the Exploding Buzzkill skill card, so you may not get much use out of this for now. However, this is a great card to pair with another Silverback weapon you unlock later on. Congratulations on hitting level 9, you can now equip 5 cards at once on the pilot, and you will also unlock Initiator. This allows you to taunt full health enemies to attack you, with the aim of keeping your teammates alive, since you are designed to be more of a tank anyway. You can trigger this card in or out of a Silverback, the enemy just cannot be damaged for it to work. Now, unlocking your first purple card as the pilot, and it is a great card, Bleeding Mulcher. Once again, another weapon for the Silverback that will deal a lot of damage on its own, and the extra bleeding damage is a nice touch. This is one of my favourite go-to weapons I choose to always equip, would highly recommend. Healing Explosives is the next card you will unlock. This will heal your character for a percentage amount of damage dealt, rather than your Silverback. And it is any explosive damage rather than just grenades as it shows in the artwork. Simple, but pair it with your drop shot and you can keep healing yourself. More healing is up next with Healing Tri-Shot. This is your 4th weapon card for the Silverback, which converts a percentage amount of damage dealt to heal the Silverback. Not a bad card, but the weapon still overheats very quickly, which is a bit of a drawback. But if you prefer this over the Mulcher, use it instead. At level 13, you're going to unlock Wingman. This card will help you get your ultimate ability back much faster when you are one of the last 2 teammates alive. I find myself using this in Escape more, because if you're down to just 2 people in Horde, then you're gonna have a hard time staying alive, regardless if you get your ultimate back or not. At your next level, you will unlock another 2 skill cards. The first is Cold Finish. Damaging low health enemies will cause freeze damage, and with enough will freeze the enemy in place. Frozen enemies take much more damage, and it is a great way of quickly finishing off tough enemies like bosses or scions. Another card that I would highly recommend. The other card we get is our first gold skill card, the Hammer. This boosts the damage of your drop shot as well as giving it a stun mechanic. With enough drop shot ammo available, you can keep enemies crowd controlled for a long time, even bosses. Plus, the drop shot is once again the pilot's starting weapon. Epic Score Boost is our next skill card. This is just a higher rarity and value than the standard green version. I would skip this one unless you plan on trying to go for high leaderboard ranks. Hitting level 16 will unlock our second gold skill card for the pilot, Silverback Salvo. This equips a salvo rocket launcher on your Silverback, which also increases the duration of your Silverback with the more hits you get with the rockets. If you fire a single rocket which hits 3 enemies, that's going to count as 3 hits, which will add 3 times the amount of extra time on. At this level, it would give an extra 3 seconds to your ultimate duration. I love this card, and it's such a good way of increasing duration in a subtle but effective way. Time for our final skill card now, Silverback Scorcher. This equips the Silverback with a Scorcher flamethrower. I have tried this out and I wasn't too impressed with the damage. I do wonder though, if you equip this card and then hand the Silverback off to a brawler, would they be able to do even more damage with it? If anyone knows the answer, leave it in a comment below. If not, I'll test that out in a future episode of Horde Tips and Tricks. Now I would normally move on to the perks like the rest of my guides, but there's something I need to share before that. Just going back to the skill cards you can equip for different weapons for the Silverback. These ones. You can have 2 weapons equipped at the same time. The first will fire with your normal fire button. The other will shoot with your aim button or trigger. If you equip more than 2 of these weapons, the game is going to cycle through them with subsequent spawnings of your Silverback. Let's say you equip these 5 in this order. Your first Silverback spawn will have the Salvo and Mulcher. The second spawn will have a Tri-Shot and a Scorcher. And the third will have the Buzzkill and a Salvo. If you want to do this, you can, and I understand that some weapons will be better than others in certain situations, but you would need to keep track of what you have used and what is coming up next, which can get a bit complicated when you're in the middle of a firefight. Right, time to cover the perks then. Every class in Gears 5 has access to 4 different perks once inside a Horde match. These perks are leveled up using energy, costing more and more with each level, but granting bigger bonuses. It costs 24,250 energy to max out any single perk, so just shy of 100,000 energy to max out all 4. Very expensive. The pilot has access to ammo capacity, which allows you to carry more ammo with everything, including grenades, doubling everything at max rank. Ultimate cooldown, which will cut the amount of time it takes to get your Silverback again by half. Damage is third, increasing all the damage output with every weapon. Finally, max health, giving you even more health to tank damage with. Annoyingly, all the perks the pilot has access to do not affect the Silverback. So as much as extra damage is nice, Silverback weapons are not affected by this, and you cannot get extra health or have extra ammo. I've given you the perks, and now a quick showing of what all the different values and costs are for these perks. Feel free to pause the video here if you need to. With everything else out of the way, I've got some builds I want to suggest for the pilot. I've got 3 different builds for you today, with a little extra, more fun and gimmicky one afterwards. This first build is going to focus heavily on the Silverback being your main damage output, getting the most out of it every time you summon it. Silverback, Salvo and Bleeding Mulcher are the first 2 cards here that you're going to use to equip to your Silverback. 2 very powerful weapons. The Mulcher does very consistent damage, and the Salvo also does a lot of damage, but helps to extend how long your Silverback lasts. Getting through all 1000 bullets that comes with the Mulcher is difficult, but there's been a couple of times I've come close, racking up a stupid amount of damage in the process. Cold Finish is the next card here to provide some crowd control, but mostly because it helps to quickly finish off enemies that are a bit tougher. Your Mulcher's bleeding damage is great for this, as each tick of bleeding can help freeze enemies as well. Our 4th card is Aggressive Armour, simply for the extra tankiness and survivability this offers. So long as you are at max health, you will generate this stim. Like always, I'll give you an option for the last card to choose. This time, Wingman can be used if your team is struggling, but only kicks in when you and one other teammate are left alive. Alternatively, Healing Munitions is also a good option here, especially on harder difficulties. This does pair nicely with the Silverback Salvo card to help keep your Silverback alive and get as much damage out of it before it gets destroyed. The last option here is Rear Armour. This is just another survivability card, perfectly suited to be used with the Silverback. At higher levels you will take less than half damage from sources from behind, and pairing this with Stim makes you very difficult to take down. In terms of perks, I would suggest Ultimate Cooldown first and follow this up with Damage. This way you can get your Silverback often. Thirdly, take Ammo Capacity and finish with Health. When you don't have your Silverback to kill everything on the map with, just use your favourite weapons. A Lancer or a GL is a good option, and you can pair this with Cold Finish. And then get something which is a lot harder hitting, like a Drop Shot or Boom Shot, to give you large amounts of ultimate cooldown. Other than that, focus larger enemies with your Mulcher, especially Sirens and bosses, and make sure you use your Salvo on bigger groups. Flocks are great for this to get more and more time in your mech. Build number 2. This is going to focus on dealing your damage as the pilot itself, and not the Silverback. Here are the cards I'm going to suggest. The Hammer and Enforcer Expert are both here to give you a big boost and some crowd control to your starting weaponry. You are a bit shorter ranged because of this, but you can deal a lot of damage to enemies that get too close. Cold Finish and Aggressive Armour are here again. These cards are just far too good. The extra tankiness, damage and soft crowd control these provide is too good not to use. So let's get into the option slot. Healing explosives is a good option to use here, as the damage from your drop shot can be enough to heal you back to full health. Initiator is also another option, providing some extra soft crowd control, giving your teammates the chance to focus on other big targets. Deep pockets could also be used if you feel like you needed any more pistol ammo here. Weirdly, if you pair this skill card with ammo capacity, you can easily get over 1,000 bullets with the Talon pistol, if you need that many. Lastly, we have rear armour again. Not as useful this time since you will take damage from the front mostly, but it can be helpful if something gets a good flank or just happens to spawn behind you. The perk order for this build would be damage, followed by ammo capacity. You can deal a lot of damage, but you're going to struggle for ammo since you don't regenerate any, so a weapons locker is needed more with this build. Take the health perk third, and don't put any points into ultimate cooldown. Your ultimate is not effective here since it doesn't have any weapons. Instead, you can spawn it to block a narrow path or act as a pseudo decoy. Time for build number 3, which will focus on being more of a tank for your team since that's what you're supposed to be, according to Gears anyway. These are the cards. The main part of being a tank revolves around taunting enemies, so we do that with Initiator. Damage as many full health enemies as you can to take aggro away from your team, but you want other cards to help keep you alive. That's where aggressive armor and rear armor come in. The stim generation is amazing, we've already clarified that, and the damage resistance is amazing, especially when you are in the silverback. That's why we're going to use healing tri-shot here as well, to taunt enemies and keep our silverback alive. This thing soaks up a lot of damage, so make sure you heal as much as you can. We do have one more slot, and the option is once again yours. The hammer and cold finish are both here simply for the crowd control they offer, and the extra bit of damage isn't necessarily a bad thing either. Alternatively, another weapon for the silverback, like the quick ice cannon or silverback salvo, aren't bad options for some crowd control or damage. The choice is yours. Time for the perks. Take health first and follow this up with ultimate cooldown. Then I would suggest ammo capacity and finish with damage. You're meant to be the tank with this kind of setup, so damage isn't that important. Crowd controlling enemies and keeping yourself alive is a must though. I mentioned I had an extra gimmicky build purely for fun. Take any of the 5 silverback weapon cards and equip them in any order. This will almost randomise which cards you will get in every time you spawn your silverback. Don't do this if you're going to attempt anything higher than advanced though, as this is a stupid fun thing to do with this class. It gets even wackier if you have 2 or more pilots in the same game as well. Just something to do if you ever get bored. With everything else covered, there's one last thing I need to show you before this guide is finished off. Like all other classes, you get rewarded with a cosmetic skin for getting this class to level 20. For the pilot, you get the heroic Venom weapon skin for the drop shot, and you should be seeing this on screen. I'm not sure why it's taken me so long to cover this class. It is really fun to play and stupidly effective almost everywhere. Try this class out and some of these builds and let me know how you get on with a comment below. Before we finish this video, I want to give a huge shout out once again to Cherry Quench, a fellow Gears content creator. He's been doing content for Gears games much longer than I have, and he makes some great videos. He's been promising a map breakdown series, and the last time I joined in on one of his streams, he mentioned it was coming along quite nicely. If that sounds interesting to you, his links are in the description box below this video once again. I've been watching a lot of the videos he uploads, and he posts more often than me. He's a great guy, go and check out some of his content. I just want to add one last thing before this video ends. At the time of recording the audio for this video, we are up to 455 subscribers, so just a quick thank you. We are almost halfway to 1,000, which is the next big milestone I'm looking to hit. So if you want to help the channel out, be sure to subscribe to see my future uploads. I do have everything prepared now for the rest of my class guides, and the last 4 classes I need to cover will be out before the end of the year, with a couple of extra videos thrown in as well. If that sounds good, Make sure you subscribe to get notified when I do upload them. Plus, you're going to help me out massively. That's it for this video though. As always, have an awesome day guys, and I will see you in the next one.